Welcome to the RVA Returners Podcast, your weekly source for all things Final Fantasy TCG.
Yeah, it lags, sadly. Well, it has some lag on it, and my TV isn't very good, and it sucks when you play the game a lot.
That's tough because I do like these games, but I do like one thing more than that, and that's being back for another episode of the RVA Returners Podcast, guys. Welcome back once again. I'm your host, Chris Adams. With me, as always, is my partner in crime, Adam Lane. And we got a pretty good episode lined up this week. It's we're going to talk about some fun stuff. Then we're going to have an FDR style fireside chat. It's kind of been a hot button issue, so we'll get to that. But you know how we like to start around these parts, and that's with the news. And that's the way the cookie crumbles. Walter Cronkite. Yeah, so we'll start the news today. Just like last week, we've had a couple qualifiers since then. But we're going to start with the best news, the good story. Adam Lane. We didn't talk. We kind of foreshadowed it on last week's episode, but you brought home the bacon on Sunday. Why don't you tell us about your victory?
Yeah, it was a 24-man tournament down at Tower, so exactly enough to get a top 8 cut.
Nice.
According to the rules. I say that with air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was on Mono Lightning, switched it up from Turbo Ice just because Turbo Ice is really good. It's just it's not a deck for me.
Mm-hmm.
For a multitude of reasons. But that doesn't mean that it's not a good deck. And I teched in some cards to kind of help me battle with early aggression and stuff with Shadow Lord. Bumped it up to 3 Exodus. I have changed the deck since I won. Took out a few cards, added a few cards that I think make it better.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Mono Lightning's in a pretty good place. But yeah, I went undefeated in Swiss, made top 8, and then lost one match in the top 8, I think.
Nice. And was that to Danny? Or?
Nope, I lost to Josh. One match to Josh.
Yeah, he was on
Wind Ice.
That's right.
It wasn't really straight discard, but it was a lot of hand disruption.
Sure, and he was using almost like the Thoughtseize effects with Heroic Zidane and stuff like that, right?
He was on Legendary Zidane.
Interesting.
There was a point where he had Legendary Zidane, Celis, and something else, another 4 CP out, and I Exodus that board. And I was like, yeah. As soon as I did that, I was like, yeah, that's probably just game.
Oh, absolutely, it is.
Yeah, because I paid 4 CP to get rid of 12. That's pretty good.
That's what we call Value Town.
Yeah.
But that's awesome, man. So, what were your matchups like? Anything noteworthy?
We talked about it a little bit on the Choke Bros podcast.
Check that episode out. It just came out this past weekend as well. Excellent issue. Episode.
Yeah. So it's a lot of Scions. About half the field was probably Scions. Maybe not quite half, but it was a lot.
Mm-hmm. The deck's good, man.
A few people on Turbo, not a crazy amount. And then kind of some other usual stuff. You got Earthwind there a couple times. Not anything crazy. But yeah, a lot of Scions for sure.
Dude, was there... like I said, I think on your grand finals was kind of a neat match. It was against Austin up from Fredericksburg, and he was playing that really interesting mono fire deck with just a lot of big bodies, a couple Nidhogg's, Camlinot, Zonde, just real heavy on the top end.
Yeah, he was undefeated going into the Swiss match against me.
Mm-hmm.
We were the last 2 undefeateds left, and he had been going turn 1 Camlinot a lot. I heard a lot of people talking about it. He did it on me, but I already had the outset answer.
Mm-hmm.
There was one turn in the Swiss match where he used Shadow's ability twice, pitching 2 Nidhogg's to kill
really
my Zemus and my Hildebrand, which was pretty good. But I was still at that point. It was kind of already I was already kind of ahead.
Right, so you didn't matter.
And then in top 8, he played turn 1 Kamala again. I had turn 1 Elsit again. Zonde was pretty decent for him though. But again, it was kind of easy for me to kind of move stuff out of the way.
Sure.
For the most part, he did hardcast 2 Nidhogg's on me in the last top 8 match.
Nice.
But Shadow Lord came in for the last turn,
cleared out
enough stuff, and I was able to Amon down his Nidhogg and then swing through for game.
Nice. Well, congratulations on that. So now that you've got that qualifier, do you feel like the pressure's off now going into Gen Con?
Yeah, I'm still going to play for the buys. I'm not going to bring anything stupid. I'm going to bring something that's more like a deck that I want to play, but I'm not going to bring anything like janky, you know. I'm still going to bring something good, or something that I feel is good, because I'm still going to play for the 3 buys.
Sure.
So.
Well, awesome, man. Congratulations. Glad you're able to put that baby to bed. So then now we're going to kind of go to the flip side. Yesterday we had another qualifier because I wasn't able to make the one last week, as I've said before. So we had one yesterday down in Yorktown at a shop called Jersey's. Shout outs to the gentleman down there. I believe his name was Connor or Colin.
One of the two. I think it was Colin.
Yeah, great job running the event. We had 11 people. I, once again, finished second.
Yeah.
It was exactly the same tale as last week.
Yep.
The only person I lost to the entire day was Danny, which is funny. Going into that event, like me and you had talked about, like Danny was the player, because Danny's a really good player. And of course, I'm talking about Danny Diaz. He's part of the Pocket Group and part of the Returner family. Really, really smart, really solid, strong player. And, he beat me last round of Swiss. And sure enough, we met in finals. And, I took game 1. He took games 2 and 3. It was very similar to what happened to me last week, except last week I won all my Swiss matches. But regardless. So I was pretty defeated. I guess I was on turbo ice like I was last time, and the deck did very well for me once again. And I don't want to beat a dead horse because I did feel pretty defeated when I was done. That's why I didn't go to the one that was actually happening today or just finished up here recently up at Island Games in Northern Virginia. It was frustrating. Getting there, kind of doing the same thing, getting to the finals twice and then falling short twice. Like that's, I don't care who you are. At what point do you get tired of silver medals and you want the gold medal? You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's rough. My experience there wasn't great, but it had nothing to do with the shop or the tournament itself. So we had 11 people, which meant 4 rounds and top 4 cut. Round 1, I played my brother.
Ouch.
Who I had given my deck to play in the tournament. He beat me. It was pretty close, but he beat me. I was on Mono Water Monsters, and he was on Mono Earth. And so round 2, I got a bye, which actually ended up kind of screwing me over.
Yeah, it kind of put you out of top 4, I believe.
And then I won rounds 3 and 4, putting me at 3-1. And then because there was no undefeateds left, because you had lost to Danny in the last round of Swiss, and then I think somebody else lost or something. So that put, there was 5 X1s, I think.
Yep.
And so I was the odd man out, which was kind of shitty.
Kind of like what happened to Ethan at Game Theory last week as well.
But there's nothing you could really do about it. Funny enough, I think if you had beat Danny in the last round of Swiss, Danny would have been out, and I would have been in.
That's funny.
Yeah, because if you beat Danny, Danny goes to X2.
Oh, no.
You become the 1 seed. I get in at the 4. And then Jimmy plays Trevor.
Man. So what you're saying is, all I had to do was win my last round of Swiss, and I probably would have won the entire thing.
More than likely. Because I scooped you in top 4. So it's not like I really get any more out of it other than some promos.
Yeah.
Which I have a play set of those. I'm not really super worried about it. But yeah, I would have scooped you anyways.
Yeah, but overall I had a good day. I like the way the deck has been playing for me. I see people playing it and not having the same success with it that I am. And I don't know if that's just maybe they're piloting it wrong, maybe they're doing something different, maybe they're trying to get cute with it.
Yeah, I'll touch on this really quick. I think it's because people are trying to put cards in it that don't belong. The deck is all in on one game plan. If the game plan doesn't work, the deck loses. So you have to kind of commit, fully commit. There's no half-assing it, really.
Yeah, for sure.
You're going balls to the walls. You're it's Ricky Bobby, man.
Oh man,
that's basically the way it works.
That's right. So
when I see people trying to put cards that slow it down, or cards that oh well maybe this will come into play in this matchup. No,
it doesn't.
It's if you're playing a card for a matchup, it better be a card that also can be fast.
Yep.
Or that allows you to be faster.
And it needs to have an immediate impact when it comes into play.
And again, I'm not saying the build that we have is the end-all be-all. I think there are some improvements that can be done.
I agree.
But I think that if you're taking out I don't know, a Genesis or Squalls or something, and you're putting in Orphans and Kujas and shit, just stop.
Yeah, you're slowing down a deck that's already peeling off the top all day long.
And there's no advantage for me to be helping people that are playing that deck because I'm not going to be playing the deck. So but I'm just saying it's. you just commit to the game plan. That's literally what the deck is. It's like a one-dimensional game plan, and it does it really well.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely. So that's the tale of our qualifiers. Next week we'll talk about who won the one today, and we'll be coming from Gen Con. So hopefully there'll be a lot of good news coming out of Gen Con.
There'll probably be a double episode next week. I think that's the plan.
Yeah, two episodes and like a lot of interviews.
Yeah, I think the plan is to record one episode, kind of like at the start of everything, probably like right after Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And then have another episode at some point after, like maybe before the top 32.
Mm-hmm.
And have like this, like a dual episode thing.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll dig more into that when we start talking about Gen Con here at the end. But as far as more news, we had a couple other big tournaments across. We had one in the UK and we had one in Australia.
Yeah, they were fairly big.
Oh yeah, the one in Australia was 76 players.
Yeah, the Pulse
the
Cup.
Pulse Cup, and that was won by Daniel Belia. I'm probably butchering his last name, but he was on Mono Wind.
Yeah, there was 2 mono wins in the top 3.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very similar builds. I think a few cards different.
Mm-hmm,
I believe.
Really diverse top 16.
A lot of Vikings.
A lot of dude.
Hey, that's across all events this weekend, actually, including what I know of the qualifier that just happened.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
because as it stands right now, the top seed is a mono water Viking Lelia focused deck.
Yeah, Layla Viking is very real. Like I hear people trying to say like that. When you play Layla, you're trying to play these other like undervalued cards, and I mean, I'm sorry, no.
Yeah.
Like, you're paying 3 CP to play a Viking that draws you probably 2 cards. I mean, almost always 2 cards.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably just gonna block something to prevent a piece of damage because you don't care about it.
Yep.
And then you're gonna play Layla to get that thing back to draw more cards. Like, as long as you have a solid win con,
mm-hmm.
you'll probably draw it. Like, you're gonna draw so many cards.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have so much to play. I mean, I played a Windwater version of it on Tuesday at our local.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one point where I passed my turn with 5 cards in hand. By the time my turn passed back to me and I drew my 2 cards, I had like 9 cards in hand.
Yeah. The deck is straight gas. And I know there's 2 versions of it. Like, I'm glad you said that. There's a Windwater version and there's also an Ice Water version. I'm more in tune with the ice water version. I get the wind water one because you get access to like no Zemus because that kind of becomes your win con, right?
The win con is to play weenies
mm-hmm.
and then just kill them with weenies that they can't block while drawing a shit ton of cards. And then you use like Camelot to fish out your Zemus so that you're not like running a bunch of Zemuses that just draw you dead.
Yep. And then the ice water builds I know are taking advantage of like Genesis Avatar being blinked by Renoa to just pretty much wipe their board and you just swing through with all your Vikings.
So that's a 10 CP combo, however, Devout is a card in that deck.
Yep.
So what you do is you just set it up to the point where you get Renoa in your break zone, you get Devout online, you tap down, you play Genesis Avatar, and then you Devout Renoa back in and you kill their entire board.
Yep, and chances are, even if it is 10 CP, you don't have the Devout set up, you may have enough cards in your hand to pay for the whole thing.
For sure, yeah.
So like it's a very strong. I think that deck that archetype is excellent, and I'm actually looking forward to trying something like that as well.
And Legendary Kefka is also a very real card in both of those decks.
Yep.
Very easy to get them out without spending any. Like you're just killing 3 Vikings.
I mean, you're almost netting at that point. You kill 3 Vikings, draw 3 cards, and you break a dude.
Usually it's like kill Layla, kill something, and kill a Viking. Play Kefka, replay Layla, get Viking back.
Yeah, it feels great. The deck feels really good, and something I'm looking forward to playing more after Gen Con. But then that top 16 was also really diverse. You had some mono lightning, couple mono ices, couple Gull Wings builds. You had some other mono water. You had Scions in there, and you had a couple tricolor monster decks. So
how many mono ice decks?
1, 2, 3.
Out of 16?
Out of 16. 3 out of 16 mono ice decks. And they were all they're all the tempo builds.
Yeah.
But they were all pretty different. Like I think a couple of them had Karsame in it. The one that was in top 4 was pretty standard. This one was running no Sid Allstain, but it did have 5-drop Kuja in there. And I've noticed they're also running Ysael. I guess just to search out that one Pishani, but they did all have Renoa in them.
Yeah, I mean, I think she's a good card. It's
I agree.
Typically not something you're going to run a full playset of, but, I mean...
One or 2 tops.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was really neat. And then I know there was the and congratulations to everybody who placed there. Looks like it was a really good turn. Looks like some of the pictures on Facebook kind of living vicariously through the camaraderie that people were having. So it looked like it was a really fun event. Then there was one in the UK. You know a little bit more about this one.
It was like Brotherhood, I think the Brotherhood Open or something like that. Like Alex, I think McCool is like part of running that.
Shout out to the Crystal Tower.
And yeah, I think top 2 was both Mono Water. I don't know all the deck lists. I don't think they've all been posted yet. But the winner was Mono Water Monsters, and forgive me, I don't remember his name. I'd have to look it up. But it was pretty standard Mono Water Monsters list, other than the fact that it ran Layla and Viking in it. Yeah,
I'm telling you that my Mono Water Monsters build that I have that I've been playing. It doesn't run Layla, but it does run Viking. I think
if you're running 3 CP Viking, you should be running Layla right now.
I agree.
And then the other build was more of like I want to say like the Garnety build, like it's just like dudes, Mono Water dudes. And they also ran Layla and Viking in that deck as well.
Yeah.
So
I feel like if you're playing blue cards, there's no reason not to play that because it just creates so much card advantage. Like it feels good.
Yeah.
Like it feels really good. But yeah, that's all the news we have today. So a lot of tournaments. Again, next week is going to be jam-packed with news because we will be at Gen Con. And I don't know what all is in store for the game at Gen Con other than the events that they're having. But look for your boy to be playing pretty much everything he can get his grubby little paws on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be playing all the Final Fantasy events.
Yeah, me too. They got Pauper. They're going to have. I don't want to put the cart before the horse because we'll talk about that when we get to the actual Gen Con section of our podcast. But stay tuned for next week for more of the news. I still got to get my own little thing in there. But so now we're going to talk about our first topic we want to talk about today. It's kind of been a get your polio blankets out. Time to sit next to the fire, FDR style.
That's got to be a video now.
Yes, it is. But I think something it's been touched on by other content creators here in the last couple weeks, and I know a lot of it kind of started rearing its ugly head with there was a post made about what people think of mono ice. I don't remember the exact details of it, but that's always the root of.
That is a healthy conversation that can and probably needs to be had.
Yeah, absolutely.
However, the way that it needs to be had can be a lot better.
I agree, and that's kind of what's happening with a lot of differences in opinions is the best way.
And that's
to say
also
it.
Fine. Like you're gonna have personalities that clash.
Oh, absolutely.
Just don't be a dick.
And I think that's what's happening. And I think and granted, there is still little to no toxicity in this community.
Yeah, I'd say it's still mostly good people. And I mean, even the people that might be slightly toxic sometimes don't always mean to come off that way.
Right. I agree.
You just got to be careful with your words on the internet sometimes.
It's true, especially in this day and age when there are you don't know you can't really read the room per se because you're in a digital space. But I think one of the biggest problems and I think it all kind of went back to not so much just vile toxicity, but there was this air of elitism in the air. And no names. We're not pointing fingers. We're not saying anything. But I think right now in this game, there's no place for that. There's no money on the line, and I know that's an important thing because one of the big things with Magic is you'll hear people that go play competitive Magic. They talk about a little thing called EV. They're looking to get the most value out of something, and they're talking like monetary value. And I think that kind of creates a and not just in everything they do at that tournament, but they do it like they try to really make themselves look better than what am I trying? I'm trying to think of the right way to put this. Like they'll play. It kind of ties in with the mono ice conversation too, because they'll play the best deck because it gives them the best chance to win. They don't care how scummy it is. Like if it's the scummiest thing on planet Earth, they're going to play it because they want to.
You mean the deck is scummy? And
yes.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Right. I don't either. But there are people that do. But they'll do it because look, I want to win this cash payout.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's also nothing wrong with. I'm not saying be a scummy person, but there's nothing wrong with bringing a scummy deck.
Right. But I think what happens is that leads to kind of I'm going to win with this deck. I'm winning with this deck, so I'm better than you. Like there some of that happens, and it doesn't just happen in Magic. It happens in almost every card game. I can't speak on the Yu-Gi-Oh front of things because I played that game for all of 30 seconds, but I've heard stories, and maybe that'll be a fireside chat with Curtis Kang for another day. But I think right now, I guess, I told you all that to tell you this. My thoughts don't really sound as organized, but I think there's just no place for beratement or belittling of anybody else because they don't share the same opinion on a card or a deck, or maybe they're not as good of a player than you. But you got to read the room on that level. Like, not everybody who plays this game is a competitive player, right?
Sure. Yep. That's any game.
Right. Yeah. So if you got somebody who's frustrated with, we'll keep talking about mono ice here. So you got somebody who's frustrated with that, instead of saying, well, hey, get better, well, what if they just play casually and they just kind of found themselves on the opposite end of that deck and they're like, oh my god, that's so ridiculous and oppressive.
So, I mean, the way that I see it is like, and I mean, mono ice is really good, and we'll probably talk about it more in a second. But, like, when those people come to you, right, like, if you're a player, if you're like a, what's the word I'm looking for? If you're like an icon of the game,
sure.
I don't know the correct word. I'm looking for a better word, but like if you're like a top player in this game, and you're a person that someone looks up to,
sure.
Right? I feel like
a role model essentially.
Yeah, I feel like we're kind of that. I'm not saying like we're.
No, but people do listen, and they listen to what we say, and we want to make sure that we're putting our best face forward.
Yeah,
we're not perfect,
but there's a ton of players out there that I feel like meet this criteria.
Absolutely.
If like a player comes up to you, or like these threads start with mono ice or whatever, like why not just be like, well, here's what I do against mono ice. Here's how you can make your odds better, or be like, hey, what are you playing? Let me see your list. Like, how does it fare against ice? And you might just be playing a deck that just gets dumpstered by it.
Yeah.
And it's not like ice has a lot of bad matchups in the first place. Like that's what makes it good. Because if in a card game, if you're probably winning more than 50% of the time, it's probably playing a pretty good deck.
Yeah, for sure.
So like, I mean, like help them, guide them. We do this at locals, right? Like, in between all my matches, I always talk about stuff. And if I feel like even if I'm playing something impressive, because I will play something if I think it's that impressive and that wins a lot. I'll bring it to locals every now and then. I try to play more fun stuff at locals, at least for me, and that's for me, that's not for everybody else. That's for me.
Yep, and I think we've kind of groomed our community to be that way. Like our locals, our weekly events are there for people to have fun, teach each other, learn from each other. And then you bring your A game to like the monthly events we have. I know when I'm sitting across from somebody, I'll talk them through the game while we're playing.
Because I mean I play Tuesdays to win for sure. Like I'm never not playing to win, but I also want the community to grow. And if that means like if a player does something blatantly wrong, or at least I know it's blatantly wrong, I'll be like no, you just do this, and then I'll explain like why they should do this. Like even if it's just on board, I don't even need to see their hand. And I mean like I'll tell them like I'll walk them through the play like why they need to do this X play. And and then next time they'll probably just do it themselves. Yeah,
and I think that's something that needs to happen more because I know there are some communities that their weeklies are cutthroat.
And I'm not saying there's wrong. Like,
there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what they want.
If the community works and it because at the end of the day, if it's a big tournament, I can be cutthroat.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm playing 100% to win. On Tuesdays, I'm playing to win, but I'm also playing to grow the community and help everyone get better. Because if the community gets better, we get better. Because then that's more people for us to play test with. That's more people for us to play with on a weekly basis. And if they get better, they're going to make us better. And then, because if you don't, and your scene becomes stale, you're not going to get any better. You're going to notice that when you start traveling, and you're going to be like, well, I'm just losing to these guys all the time because they're better players, and how am I going to get to their level?
Exactly.
Yeah, but if you have a scene, and you can create a scene, and you have these weekly events, take advantage of them. Take advantage of your players getting better.
Yep. So there's a fine line, and I think what happens on the flip side of that, like, we're this game also. I heard the best thing today is like this game isn't a soup kitchen, right? You want to be kind and you want to teach people that there's nothing to be afraid of when you're playing this game, but also at the same time too you can't create a sense of entitlement. And what I mean here is and I'll use a real life example. I'm not going to use names, but it was in one of the Facebook threads. There was somebody who went to a local qualifier. They were bummed that they didn't do well. they were bummed they didn't get any promos. And it's like, and he I want to say he used the words that it was a slap in the face to a new player. And then there another person chimed in and said, well, hey, you shouldn't be rewarded for playing poorly. And then it just kind of escalated from there. And I'm gonna say this about that. I see both sides of the coin, and they're both wrong. There shouldn't, the person who feels outed, if you're a new player, I don't think you should have chosen to get your feet wet with a national qualifier.
Yeah, it's probably not the best place.
Because there are going to be people that are playing Cutthroat, and if you're not as familiar with the intricacies of the game that the other people are, you are going to do bad. And these events are cutthroat for good players. Like, yeah, the top cut gets prizes, but no one cares about that. People are going to these things because they want to win. They want to qualify.
Well, it's winner go home.
This is a winner take all kind of thing. So if you go to a 20-person tournament and you finished 18, 19, or 20, you can't get mad when there's no prize support for you. That's why you go to your local events. That's why you pay $5 pack per win, where most stores, when they have these weekly events, they give promos to everybody.
Yeah,
we don't have that because we don't have promos right now.
Yeah, but we give everybody gets a pack at least.
Right.
And which basically means you get your money back.
Right. So you essentially get to play in a free tournament, and there you can learn how to play the game. So picking this stage to be a new player and then voice your opinion about how you feel outed as a new player, it's the wrong stage for that. But at the same time, the person who was, like, you got to show a little bit more tact there. It's like, hey, kind of just say what I just said. Hey, man, like, if you're worried about that, maybe you should start here instead. Or, hey, that's just the nature of the community. Like, if you're not familiar with tabletop games, very, very few games have prizes for participation.
I mean, if you look at fighting games,
fighting games are worse.
Yeah, like if you deuce out, I say deuce out, that means you lose your first 2 games.
Yeah, you're out.
Because most fighting games are double LM.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just go home and you spent usually $5 to $10,
and then $40 for a venue fee.
And the only thing you really learned, and I'm even talking at a weekly level.
Mm-hmm.
Weekly levels generally might have like a $5 venue fee,
mm-hmm.
and then a $5 entry, so that's
mm-hmm.
$10.
Mm-hmm.
If you finish dead last, the only thing you got from playing is whatever you learned in the 2 sets that you played.
Yep.
And if you went 0-2, or you played people that are just way better than you probably just got your ass handed to you,
mm-hmm.
and it's really hard to learn from that sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, at least when you're playing a card game, you get some, like, there's no promos in fighting games. You don't get any of that. They're playing for money all the time.
There's no cross-ups in spelling bee.
I mean, I'm just saying, like they're like all their tournaments are just for money, and maybe that's just because people understand that there when they play all the time, and people that play card games expect to be the tip, get these like things even if they finish. And I'm not. Yeah, at a weekly that's fine, but when you're going to something that's like a national qualifier like this, like I mean.
And here's the thing, like, and I don't want to make it sound like I'm outing this person for saying that. We're glad you're a new player. Welcome to the community. Yeah. But at that point too, you shouldn't, like, you maybe should have done a little more research before picking this as your place to get your feet wet.
And I don't even know if this is that person's first event or not.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
But it probably wasn't a good thing to go to in your first week or so playing the game, especially
or as your first tournament, especially right now.
Yeah.
And then to the other guy who was saying stuff back to him, like, like, understand that, like, if he's a new player and you're not, you want to be welcoming. Explain to him why it doesn't work that way.
Just explain to him like we just did, basically. Like, just say, hey, this is a national qualifier, tends to be kind of cutthroat, tends to be like everybody's playing to win because it's a winner to home.
And then at that point, you've got the chance to invite, well, hey, what do you do on Tuesday nights? What do you do on Wednesday nights? Well, Sunday night is our local. Why don't you come out every Sunday if you can? Mm-hmm. Or if not, send them a friend request, something on Facebook, like, hey, we can jam on Octagon. I can teach you the game. Like, if you want to learn, so next time you come to one of these things, you can get prizes. Yeah. You can make it, or hell, you can win this whole thing and make us all look silly. Like, this community is, for the most part, really, really good about building each other up. But then sometimes, like, I think enough of us here don't like toxicity enough that we kind of catch it before it happens, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But it's tough. And as the game grows, it's going to happen. Because, again, like we said, and I posted something when Joseph here made the post about it earlier this week. I had said something that, look, man, there's no reason for elitism and toxicity, because at the end of the day, we're going to these tournaments to pay. We're playing, the top prize usually is a stuffed animal and foil card, some kind of cards, maybe a trophy.
Or a playmat.
And a zero expenses paid trip to another event.
Yep.
These people that win nationals, they win the right to go. They don't win we're going to take care of your flight. We're going to take care of this. You're still paying for the same thing that everybody else is paying for.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's no room for elitism, and one kind of perpetuates the other. If you have people that are struggling, or if there's people that come out and they're like, mono ice is this deck is unfair, I don't like this. Well, instead of saying get good, nerd, or suck it up, stop sucking, it's like, hey, like you said earlier, reach out to them. Where are you struggling? Why do you play this? Look at their list. Why do you play this list? Well, I like Final Fantasy VI, so I want to play Cyan. I want to play this. I want to play that. Okay, that's fine. But then that's when you kind of have to have that heart-to-heart with them. Hey, you probably won't be able to play this deck competitively.
I try to tell people. There's people that come to me a lot, and they'll be like, I really like Final Fantasy VII. I want to play this Final Fantasy VII Earth Fire deck. And I'm like, yeah, you can do that. And there are cards that are strong. Like Vincent's really good.
Yep.
Like Cloud is not a bad card. It's just there's a reason it doesn't see a lot of competitive play.
Mm-hmm.
And you can win your local with that.
Yeah.
But if you try to take that to a place where everybody's playing to win, like a local qualifier or
you're not going to have a good time.
You're going to play stuff that's built to win, and you're playing a deck that you just want to play certain cards. At that point, it's going to be rough. You might win some matches because you can optimize it as much as you can,
mm-hmm.
but it's never going to be as good as an actual competitive deck, because right now those cards aren't that competitive.
Right, and that's why I urge any community that has players like that, where they
play title
format.
Yeah.
That's how you can nurture that side of the community.
Even when we played Versus, I was a big Spider-Man fan, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to play Spider Friends.
Spider
Friends were garbage.
They were one of the worst teams in the game.
I never took Spider Friends to a big event,
nope.
But bet your ass I was playing it at locals.
When we were going to KGR back in the day, you most certainly were playing Spider Friends.
I'll play Spider Friends. I'll play straight up Marvel Knights without trying to
build the combos that would win.
Yeah, try to play Punisher and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I knew
best believe when we were going to a PCQ or
taking Sentinels.
Sentinels or Teen Titans were sleeved up and in the pocket.
Yeah,
trust me.
It's if you play the game the right way, there's a place for everything.
Correct.
If you play that way, you're always gonna have fun.
Yep.
And if you don't want to, if Final Fantasy VII is your thing, and you just play for fun and not competitively, then just play at your weeklies and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with not going to the local qualifiers. We have players like that.
And when you want to turn the corner, get with those players in your scene that do play competitively.
Yeah, and they'll help you, hopefully.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said it that way, because the good people, the ones who want to see the game thrive and the community grow, will help you.
That's why we're content creators.
Right.
At the end of the day, this is fun for us. We're not doing this for a paycheck.
Yeah.
It's more about the game. We like the game a lot.
Yeah.
We like the game enough to be competitive at it.
Mm-hmm.
We understand how a competitive scene works.
Mm-hmm.
We understand how our local scene works, and we want to make content that everybody can watch.
Right. And again, if we wanted to do this for money, we would probably not be doing this, because there's just no money in this right now. We want to see a game that we enjoy playing grow.
Yep.
And that's why we do it. So, really at the end of the day, we told you all of that to tell you this. Don't be a dick. Just build each other up.
Yeah, I said that at the beginning. So we're full circle.
We're full circle. just don't be a dick.
Yeah.
Build each other up. Don't break each other down.
Yeah, just cultivate.
Yep.
Don't piss on it.
You can't say it any better than that.
Yeah.
So we'll go ahead and put out the fire there. We'll go ahead and fold the blankets up.
I think that's the name of the episode, right?
What?
Don't cultivate. Don't cultivate. Don't piss on it.
Don't cultivate.
Or
cultivate. Don't piss on it. We'll have to make sure we write that down so we don't forget that, because that's going to be an awkward title if we get that wrong. But so now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about kind of the
I call it the boogeyman.
The boogeyman, yeah, like mono ice. There's been a lot of we harped on a little bit in the toxicity thing because that seems to be the root for a lot of things, like a lot of negativity in the community. The deck's good. If you're
really
playing competitively, you're going to see it.
Yeah, it's really good.
But clearly, it's not winning everything. It's not an end all be all. Now, granted, in one particular region in the world, it seems like it's winning.
Well,
everywhere.
the Brotherhood event was in the UK.
Yeah, well, there you go. And I'll bet mono ice was there.
Oh, I'm sure. Yes, I haven't seen all the lists, but I'm sure it was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's really good.
Yep.
And at the end of the last meta, and probably at the end of Opus 4, I'll probably argue that it was the best deck.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
But was it winning literally everything? No.
Nope.
Was it winning a lot of events in EU? Yes. But in America, like, it wasn't really winning much at all.
No, you'd see it. You would see it.
And there are reasons for all of that. Like, I mean, everybody's meta is pretty different.
Yeah.
And EU seems to be of the mind that if it's the best, why not play it? And I don't blame them.
No, absolutely.
Like, I mean, if it is the best, why not play it? But then I feel like when you do that, you kind of like put blinders around your eyes, and you're just only looking at this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then everybody starts playing that one thing. So like that's all you have to look at.
And then just the number. It's a numbers game at that point. The odds of it winning now are extremely high.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, there is a reason for that because I do think it was the best deck. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't mean that something else just can't win. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're seeing it now. There's tons of people bringing mono ice to these things.
Well, fucking guilty as charged.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Because I want to win.
Yeah.
I want to win. If I'm going to these events, like, I want to win. And, no, don't get me wrong. I know how to beat mono ice. And that's the thing. Like, I've played against it so much that I know how to beat the deck, too. And that's turbo and tempo. Like, it's as scary as you make it out to be.
Yeah. I mean, it is, like, and I've probably said it like 30 times. It is very good. It's very good. Mm-hmm. But if you understand how to play it, you can mitigate that, and there's still a lot of room to outplay it.
Oh, absolutely.
The reason you saw Earth Wind doing pretty good toward the end was because, I mean, I felt like there's a lot of room to outplay on that deck, especially against mono ice.
Oh, yeah.
So if it gets started. I mean, there are some games where mono ice just kind of
just steamrolls it before they even get a chance to get going.
Exactly, yeah. But I mean, there's tons of good cards that aren't ice cards. Like Dadaluma's was really, really good. Wall's really, really good.
Yep, and turns out Dodaluma Cactar might be the most oppressive thing in the game.
I probably think it is.
Unless they jam a 5 CP Paladin out there on the table in front of it, because then at that point you don't give a shit anymore.
Diabolos. But I mean, they have answers to that too. Mm-hmm. But like, it's a Dodaluma with 2 Cactars is pretty impressive.
Yeah, like so. I
hope you got a 9K.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah. So.
Like, the deck's frustrating. Don't let it get you down if you're frustrated with playing against it. And this goes to players who are maybe a little more on the casual side, or newer players. Like, you see people playing it, or if you're playing it yourself, and maybe you're on the flip side. Maybe you know that it's good, and you just can't win with it because you don't understand the deck. Just stick with it on both sides. Like, if you can't beat it, learn how to beat it. Ask for help on how to beat it. If you can't win with it, learn to play the deck. Keep the reps, and this game is all about repetition. This game rewards repetition with the deck. So, like, I tell people, stick to their guns in this game. Like, deck hop for your locals, and if you want to explore and try new things. But if you're trying to learn a deck, play a deck for a competitive event, pick it, stick with it, make the changes as you see fit.
I deck hop a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm testing for an event, I will play a shit ton of games.
Oh, me too.
With the deck that I'm thinking, or even if it's like multiple decks that I'm trying to think about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
we theory craft all damn day long.
Exactly. Like. I deck hop to stay well versed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, to me, and this doesn't work for everybody. Like, you should find your own thing. I'm not saying everybody should do this, but for me, it's like if I learn how to play as a deck, it'll help me learn how to beat that deck, and also help me as a player learn how to play different style decks.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'll play Turbo just to understand it better, even though I hate it. I'll play Monsters, but I play Monsters because I like Monsters. But, a control deck, a tempo deck, an aggro deck. I'll play all the different kinds of decks so that I understand how to play all those play styles if I feel like one of those type of decks are just too strong or something, and that's what's going to give me the best chance to win. But it also helps me play against those decks, too. Mm-hmm. But there are players, too, that will just play one archetype, and they're just so good at that one archetype, and they'll take that to everything, and it doesn't matter that everyone knows what you're on. Like Andy Carmona, right?
Yeah.
Like, he's a mono lightning player.
The exact same way.
Sit across from him, he's always going to be on mono lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter the day, doesn't matter what the meta looks like.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, he's still going to probably have the best mono lightning deck that he could put together, at least in his mind.
Yep.
And you better be ready to like play against a top-notch mono lightning player.
Well, that and play against lines that you probably don't even think of.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the thing. Like when you have a specialist per se, you know.
It's like this in fighting games too.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can always loop it back in. Like in fighting games, there are clear tier lists most of the time, and there's generally, as long as the game is fairly balanced, a lot of characters are playable. But there's always going to be like those 1, those 2, those 3 or 4 or 5 characters that are like top tier, and you're going to see those a lot. And anybody like me that floats around is going to pick the best character, or at least like the best character for their playstyle. But you better be prepared for that. For Joe Schmo, that's like the best Blanca player in the room, even though Blanca's trash.
But he knows every time he's on advantage, all of his
and you better know
traps.
that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So like, you have to know both sides of the coin. And I can, again, in fighting games, I switch around a lot. I do have characters that I like, but typically if I was playing for real, if I was playing for money, I was going to pick a character that at least I thought was good and fit my playstyle. But you have to learn the weird matchups too. For that character, or else you're going to get just dumpstered by a character that you'll see a lot.
Yep.
So, like, for example, like Fire right now, people are starting to play it a little bit more. I would say that it's like super great, but people are starting to play it again. You better know what those Fire cards do, because if you run up against them and you're looking and reading every card in a big event,
oh, you're in trouble.
It's probably going to be bad for you.
You are in trouble. Because they're going to hit you with something, and you're just going to be like, oh, I just lost 3 guys. Well, I guess I played into a card I didn't know what I was doing against.
Yep.
Happens all the time. So just be the best player you can be is really, and I know we kind of equated all that back to mono ice because it is the boogeyman, but be the best player you can, help each other be the best player that they can, and we all win.
Yeah, pretty much. The game gets better, the community gets better.
Yeah. That's a good segue, because speaking of communities and great things, Gen Con is next week. Like, we're leaving Wednesday night. We're leaving Wednesday after I know you're on vacation pretty much all week.
Tomorrow's my last day at work for a week.
Nice.
And then, Tuesday I'm just kind of chilling.
Nice. Jammy Jam Tuesday.
Wednesday I'll be chilling, waiting on you.
Yep. I'm getting out of work around 5 o'clock, and we're going to load up the car, and I'm just going to come get you right after work, and we're just going to...
You can bring a change of clothes and change here if you want.
Oh, I might be wearing my pajamas to work.
Okay.
So, yeah, we're just going to go, and we're going to drive up. We're staying with, again, we said it last week, we're staying with the North Carolina guys, Charlotte group, Rob, Joe. I'm so bad with names because I only know them really by
Steve.
Steve by their Facebook monikers. But so we're gonna have a good time. There's several events there. There's the sealed Crystal Cup.
Yep.
There's 2 flights of constructed. Now I heard you mention, are they doing it the way they did Cali?
I assume so. Don't quote me on it.
I really hope not. I really hope they end each day at a top 8 for a proper top 16 at the end. I think that's just better. It's more streamlined. It's cleaner. My
assumption, and again, I don't know this for sure. I don't work at Square. Sealed will cut to 16.
Yep.
Don't remember if they're going to play it all the way through on Thursday. I don't think so. I want to say the top 16 is sealed, or maybe top 8 is going to be on Sunday. And then flight 1 of Friday, again, I don't know this for sure, will cut to 16. I'm assuming it's going to work like California. Top 16 on flight on Saturday will cut to 16.
Because that's really the only precedent we have is the way the structure was California.
Yep, and then the top 32 of that will play on Sunday. And I want to say, I want to say the sealed might end on Friday.
Okay.
Because I want to say the flight on Friday happens and then top 16 or whatever.
Okay.
For sealed also happens. The schedule's out there. But I don't know if they have the exact top cuts.
Okay.
Yeah,
because we got that. Then, again, we said the 2 flights are constructed. There's also a Pauper tournament, which I'm really excited about. And Title. I
think Pauper is very underexplored in this game, and I've talked to people in our locals, and they kind of want to do it too. So I think what might have to happen is maybe once every 2 months, they have a Pauper on Tuesday.
Or maybe we could even, maybe we could probably feel like maybe alternate this month do Title, next month do Pauper, or vice versa. Yeah, we'll feel that out, but I 100% want to start doing Pauper here because I think there are a lot of really, it's going to be just like Magic Pauper, right? There's going to be some really, really neat decks that come out of this.
Yeah, Layla Viking, probably pretty good.
Layla Vikings, I think Dragoons are super playable.
I'm probably looking at Layla Vikings now.
Yeah, I'm 100% looking at Dragoons just because you get all those stupid Dragoons, you get Warrior of Light, you get Kane, you get Rosa.
Yeah, then you have like a 20k Dragoon.
Yeah, you get all pretty much the only cards you don't get for a Dragoon deck are like Estinian
Yep.
Like, you still get like
the heroic canes if you want to play those.
Yeah, but typically you're playing the rare one that boosts everything.
Yeah.
But you still get like all the really busted lightning and water summons. You get your Leviathans,
Cyclops.
you get your 7-drop Odins, you get Cyclops, you get new Ramu, you get friggin' Choo-Choo Lane if you want it. Like you have so much to choose from in that deck. Like it and then
I'll be disappointed if Okimoto's not playing in the tournament, not playing big games.
I'll be hurt. I'll be shocked and hurt, and that whole thing better be foiled out. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, like it's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot to do. I know me and Cody have talked about. We're gonna go around. We're gonna be doing interviews, and anybody who's listening and you're gonna be at Gen Con, don't hesitate to come. Like shoot the shit with us, man. Like we want to hang out with people. We're here to have a good time too. We're here to play tournaments, but we're also here to have a good time.
I'd like to have enough, even if it's just like little short things, which just they don't have to be like known players or anything like that. And I can maybe like edit together like a vignette of like just Gen Con for Final Fantasy.
Dude, that'd be awesome. I would love to have and so that's the open invite for anybody there. Especially if you're an up and coming scene, I would love more than anything to talk to players from like, hey, I'm from Omaha, Nebraska, and we just started playing, something, whatever. Like I want to talk to people also who are just trying to build that community. We'll give you tips. We'll interview. We'll put your name out there. We'll do whatever to help you guys out. But I want Gen Con to be just a community celebration, and we want to be a big part of that. And turns out there's a couple tournaments happening too. So we'll be doing that, but we'll also be having a lot of fun. We're gonna go out for some beers with everybody afterwards. We're gonna have a fancy steak dinner one night. So somebody bring a shirt with a collar on it. We're gonna have a good time, and I want as many people as possible to be a part of that.
Yep.
So there's no nothing cliquey about this, man. We're all hanging out, we're all having a good time. So if you're into the game and maybe you don't have a local scene and you're coming to this to meet people, man, don't hesitate. Reach out, come out and hang with us. We would love to have you. We'd love to hear your story. We got polio blankets for everybody.
God damn it.
But so I think we'll probably end on that. Anything before we do our first? So we're not gonna close and then have another close?
I got nothing.
Man, I think that's a milestone. That's an absolute milestone. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and sign off. We will see everybody at Gen Con. Thanks for listening. Hey everybody, thanks for listening once again to the RVA Returners podcast. If you like this content and you want to hear more, check us out on YouTube at RVA Returners, and make sure you follow us on SoundCloud and check us out on Google Play and iTunes.